Hello, Gunner James 105. So what you see in front of the camera is my entire Portuguese military collection, except for the beret on the right, of course. And so we have yet to see the paperwork and what's inside that box. But I was going to, since I was actually going to make this video on this mortar, so that's Mortarizzi, something like that. That's my Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, whatever pronunciation. Sorry, Mortarizzi. I think that's close. So this contains a mortar, and that was a recent purchase. That was this year at a gun show. The rifle and bayonet were at an auction. That may be a couple of years ago now. So what we have is an M1886 Kropatschek. So that was made in Austria by Steyr. And actually the markings I'll show you here in a little bit and get a little bit closer up. But it was Steyr had come up with this Kropatschek, and Portugal had adopted this rifle a bit later. And so the date I think that this ran from was somewhere around 1888 to 1896. Or sorry, 1898. So 1886 to 1898. And it was in the originally an 8 by 60 rimmed, or R rimmed, in black powder, and later converted to the 8 by 56R in the smokeless powder. So it's quite a long rifle. The rifle end to end is 52 inches. Now, if we take and put that bayonet on there, if you look at where your barrel would end right there, we're adding another 19 inches. And so this bayonet then would be the proper, getting a little closer here, proper bayonet for this rifle. Don't have a frog, nor do I have a sling for the rifle, nor do I have ammunition. But bit by bit we achieve the things we're looking for over time. So the bayonet's in pretty darn nice condition, and you can see that the scabbard, or sheath, whatever, scabbard, only goes one way because of that flat. So that adds up to 52 plus, so we're just over 5 feet for that rifle. And so this rifle, it had been used in the Second World War, World War I, the Spanish Civil War. It actually was used, as far as the Portuguese were concerned. They had problems with their colonies and trying to keep their colonies. So there were what they called the Portuguese colonial wars and things like that. And so I'm going to get a little closer on this rifle, show you some of the markings, and then I'm going to get into that little box that's behind us here. So off the tripod you come. Of course, I'm doing this my latest videos have all been off of my cell phone, which is not the best cell phone in the world. But here we see this pretty nice marking. And so it shows up okay. What we have, there's in the center, CE, there we go, WG, and that stands for Austrian Arms Manufacturing. Of course, in German, I can't pronounce the actual name, but that's what it stands for. And then we've got M1886 Steyr 1886. So this, as far as I know, this roundel, as they call it, is dating this rifle to the first year of production. And as we move along. It's quite a nice rifle. I've not acquired ammunition, so I haven't fired it. There's videos on this. Probably the best source that I've seen is CN Arsenal channel, in which he's got two parts to this rifle. So he goes into great detail on it. So if you want to learn more, you can go there. But I'll just show you this example that I have. It goes on forever, doesn't it? I have in the collection. And this is the end of the tube magazine. I believe it'll hold 6 rounds in that tube, with a 7th round placed in the chamber. And with the thing flipped over, now we come to the where we've got our serial number marked in the stock, and then the crown and LI, quite fancy lettering there, and then a crown again with LI. There's our model, and there's the manufacturer and year of manufacture, as far as I can tell. And down this side, then you can see the cleaning rod, front sight. So in pretty good condition. I haven't taken this one all apart yet and done my clean as I normally would. I've been on other projects. So we'll just end on this rifle and carry on to the mortar that's in that crate. Ain't tough. So I'm probably going to need the help of the tripod here on this camera in a minute, but I thought I'd give you some close-ups of the crate, or carrying crate. So having wooden rope handles on both sides, and both ends of the box are marked the same. Focus. And what I'm going to have to do, because that's something that I forgot to do, just noticed where I have a number. Let's move around to the front. So the Mortar, which I know stands for mortar, but possibly light mortar, I'm not sure. That was the idea. So the Portuguese soldiers, they wanted, or they needed a better support weapon for fighting in dense forests and bush, etc. during the African wars from, I think it lasted 61 to 74. And you'll see the model designation. So the size is 60 millimeter, that's easy. M1886, and then the FBP. And the FBP, as far as I can come up with translations, would stand for Arms Factory, and the area would be the Silver Coast region in Portugal. And this thing would, as far as I can also find out, the mortar, which would be nice to have some sort of inert mortar to go with this display, but the US M2 mortars or projectiles, I believe, work just fine with these. And so the markings then, if I'm looking here, I'm looking at this peso, 16 kilograms, so translating peso into weight, and then the volume would be 2.7 cubic decimeters. Again, back here we've got complete width, basically accessories, is the way I would translate that. And it was that number there, I was wondering, I haven't verified, but that 6465, could that be the serial number of this mortar? I'll have to take a closer look. And then September of 1975. So I think this has to be, as far as I knew, they were done making these, they made them from about 61 to 74. So this shows 75. So what I came up with also on this is, what came with this is pretty cool. So here's your manual of instruction. So that basically up top we've got the manufacturer. Sorry, not manufacturer, but in translation, it's kind of like comes up general deposit of war material. Okay, and then we have the instructions as far as I can translate. Looks similar to English for this mortar. And inside, I'll give you a peek here in a minute once I get the mortar out. What also is pretty incredible that came with it is this sheet. So this sheet is then showing the materials that should be in this box. And again, I had kind of gone through on Google and tried to do some translating. So it looks like what we have here then is the where it's got the items that are included. So there's the cano, which I believe translates to pipe or to the mortar itself. And then there's a graduated bandolier or leather strap. So that's part of the function of for aiming. And then I believe the next one is a little rubber cap that goes over the end of the barrel. And then it refers to the instruction book, and then it refers to this pouch that would be included. And in that pouch, this first item here, so this is a screwdriver basically, what that translates to. And then this, it comes with the firing pin. And then the last item is the box to carry this in. And then we've got some official documentation here on the bottom, and you can see we've got a date there. So now that we've got through that, I'm going to go and open this box up and we'll have a look inside. All right then, so very simply opens up, got a bit of a fiber piece glued on here on both sides to not rub into the metal on here. This seal around here is like rock hard. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be. It just applies pressure, you know, for a seal here. But yeah, there is no give to that. And so we're going to pull this out of here. And so, of course, needs to be deactivated, which it was. And the deactivation, this end here, this is your base or the bottom piece that goes on the ground. So what they've done is you can see the welds that are there. So there's a couple of welds. And what that prevents access to is, so you would unthread this, and that's where your firing pin would be, just in that base. And then here is the rubber cap that I was mentioning, which is nicely attached to this big leather strap. So this leather strap, in addition to being a carrying strap, has these markings. And so you would use this to go and measure out so many meters, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. It's very clear once I show you the picture in the manual. But what they've done with this one, so that's your heavy rubber cap, is they have taken, if I can get that in there. Now you see, or maybe you don't see, but there's two rods that go through, and that comes right, a steel rod goes right through the other side from there, and another one straight through there. A little strange in that there's not any paint applied there, but that's okay. I'll come up with something and cover that shiny part there. So the mortar I'll set down for a second, because inside of here, then, it's actually, I'll show you inside the box. So there's the inside, and that's strapped in, so we can remove that. Set that down. You can see that padding on those other pieces there. So this is the pouch that can be worn on the belt. So once you want to, ditch this and get mobile with this, you know, so you have this, you have your mortars. Here's a little kit. Now this would have to do with, that's a heavy duty screwdriver, and oddly enough, this comes with a firing pin. So that's all we need. So if you break your firing pin, you can, we have a replacement with this big old heavy duty screwdriver. And I haven't really done anything. I'm going to steel wool that, get that rust off of there. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, so a basic pouch that sits in the bottom. Nice little canvas pouch. Not quite sure what the idea is behind that. That goes through this way. Definitely got that for your belt. It's not very wide. You have to have a fairly narrow, kind of odd, but maybe it's this way through the belt. That might make more sense. It's a lot wider. So we have that. And then the manual. I think that you could almost work this and not know any Portuguese. But you can see by placing your foot at a certain point on the little metal marked, so these brass marked meters, you place your foot at a certain spot and you're going to raise or lower the angle of this mortar and simply drop it in and off she goes. So it's giving a bunch of generalizations. It's talking about the pipe or the mortar itself, and it's talking about the graduations on the bandolier. And again, with some of the items that are included. So there's your basics. And so if you are looking here, then again, they're showing some examples of the ranges and things like that. And that's about it. So this few page book is about all you need. I think you could just take this and you could just make it work if you had some mortars. So just quickly before I end the video, another look at it again. It's welded here. This would be where your probably the threads to that firing pin would go. So they've done a bit of a number on that. Yeah, so there's your Portuguese mortar and your Portuguese Kropatschek rifle, my entire Portuguese military collection. So before I end the video, I actually did end the video, but I realized later that I had forgotten a couple of little details. One of them had to do with the markings I had mentioned to you. So I was referring to this crown, which is not wanting to show up now, but right there we have the LI, and then on the stock here, it showed up better the first time, but there was an LI, and that had to do with the king at the time, King Louis of Portugal. So that was one little point that I had missed. The other was the fact that I had showed you the number on the front of this crate, 6465, and I was wondering if the mortar inside matched that serial number. So then when I got a look at it, I found a couple of markings. And here, again, please focus. If it doesn't, nope. So what we have then, it just simply says 60 millimeter, and then it's got the model, that M/968. There. Thank you. So we have that. And then right here was the important number that I was looking for. So there's the serial number. So number 5074. So this mortar does not match this crate, but then I had noticed on the end here, very faint, hadn't noticed that before, is written in with a white 5074. So this has been basically force matched to the, or to at least show that what's in the box is serial number 5074 for those who are keeping records. And I believe up at the top we also have that, which I'm not sure what all that represents, but it's the only markings I could find anywhere on this mortar. So now I will say thanks for watching.